Unfortunately, you've grown up hearing voices that incessantly warn of government as nothing more than some separate, sinister entity that's at the root of all our problems. They'll warn that tyranny is always lurking just around the corner. You should reject these voices.
Hey, but Justin Woolee coming in. Well, let me see if I've got this straight. An unelected bureaucracy that specializes, strictly deals with censorship, passed a bill by themselves as an unelected bureaucracy, upon which many pages of this bill itself were in fact censored.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Well, we gotta pass the bill so you can see what's in it. Oh, well, you can't even read much of this bill because they censored what's in the bill that they passed. And label you a terrorist if you dare speak about high treasonous activities of the criminal establishment.
So these people who hold themselves out to be patriots are not. They're nothing more than domestic terrorists.
Hey, but just Woolee coming in. So did the FBI get sick of being told by CFR-controlled garbage like Jay Johnson that we were the terrorists? Is this why I'm still here? Is because the FBI recognized that when I called them and proved that they were getting fluoridated, that they were getting chemtrailed, that our military was wide open to actual terrorists, you know, undocumented immigrants whose background we don't know? Could have a criminal background, like 3 different terrorist affiliations, but we wouldn't know because they're undocumented. Oh, look at that open door into our military. You know, did they get so disturbed by what they were seeing that they went after Hillary Clinton's private email server because they saw that as a nice little Pandora's box of crime? It also proves the fact that Hillary Clinton is a very close agent of Rothschild and Rockefeller. Not to mention all the other scumbags like Lloyd Blankfein, Jamie Dimon, Ted Eugenicist Psychopathic Agenda 21 Turner, you know, David Rockefeller. All these freaking scumbags have touched this little skank, Hillary Rodham Cunton several times. Alright, and I guarantee you her private email server was private for a reason. You know, because I guarantee you she emailed every one of these people. She might have even cackled like the little whore she is. Kind of like she did back when she was a defense attorney and she got a rapist off who she knew was guilty, but she just loves rapists so much that had to give him a massively reduced sentence, right?
It was a fascinating case. It was really an interesting case. This guy was accused of raping a 12-year-old who was the daughter of the family he was living in Springfield. They lived on the side of the tracks in Springfield. Of course, he claimed that he did all this stuff. He took a lie detector test. I had to take a polygraph, which he passed, which forever destroyed my faith in polygraphs. But you know what was sad about it was that the prosecutors had evidence, among which was his underwear. I know, but I want to talk about this in front of you.
Oh, God. Really?
Yeah. So that was I had a lot of fun with Mom. But anyway, I did some of that.
How did it turn out?
He plea bargained. We got him off. It was time served in the county jail. He'd been in the county jail about 2 months.
And if she cackles about stuff like that, just imagine how giddy she's been in all these emails to these various criminals, just laughing about how they got away with this and how they committed that crime and how they tied up that loose end and killed some other. We got your criminal history right here. We don't care what you delete. We're going to find this scumbag, that scumbag, this scumbag, that scumbag, this scumbag you've been conversing with in this nice little spider web of treason. We're going to reel them all in, and we're going to pack them in a jail cell together until they suffocate and fucking die. That's what I would do if I was the FBI. And I've always been wondering why I get a visit from the Secret Service and the FBI, and they were this close to calling me a terrorist that needed to be killed NDAA style. But then I dropped them 3 of my most powerful videos. Had the FBI guy write them down right there. I'm like, hey, look. I know a lot of what I've been saying may sound over the top to you, and you think I'm the bad guy. Well, good thing for me, I specialize in information. And I can prove I'm not a terrorist. Now, this could be some massive psyop, and it may not go anywhere. But if they're as serious as I think they may be, and if they tied in other agencies to actually help them do their job, we might be looking at the beginning of the most high-profile mass arrest of actually treasonous psychopathic scumbags in American history. Just imagine that. In one fell swoop, scumbags like Ted Turner, David Rockefeller, pretty much the whole Bush family, pretty much the whole Clinton family, Rothschild, Jamie Dimon, Lloyd Blankfein, I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. Jake Johnson, Eric Holder, Jan Napolitano, you know what, I'm not even trying to list them all. You get the idea. All of them. Boom! You're done. So please, FBI, make me take it all back. Make me take it all back about how you were ineffective. I have none of that experience. I'm just an average guy on a desktop using basic resources like Mozilla Firefox Internet Searcher to figure out all the stuff I've figured out and to expose all the scumbags I've exposed. And here the FBI is having a hard time doing that? Leaves me scratching my head. So make me take it all back. That's the only reason you've left me alone, is because you know that these tyrant scumbags are the real problem. I'm not a problem. I'm a concerned citizen, and I believe in you. You just got to follow through with it now.
So yes, of course, we all know internet neutrality has nothing to do with neutralness. It has to do with criminal federal bureaucracies run by the Council on Foreign Relations getting their grubby little hands into the internet so they can censor it. That's what they do. I mean, come on, people. So yeah, we know what this is all about. The CFR and their little puppets have already telegraphed what it is they want.
They'll warn that tyranny is always lurking just around the corner. You should reject these voices.
And sure enough, the censorship bureaucracy is coming to town. Not to mention, before this whole net neutrality thing was even on the table, back in December 10th, 2014, I was telling you guys about how I spotted the Department of Defense as they were teaming up with the NSA and other goon squads to just get 6,000 people, 133 teams to scour the internet.
I just saw this other video. Wow, I wouldn't have even known my RC won. This was a 6-second video of a Rosicrucian cross, which is like it's like a death certificate, basically. It's like getting a horse head in your bed. You understand? Makes me wonder, did he even upload this? Did they? Well, did they come into his account?
Okay, here's where things get creepy. We've talked about also, you know, RC cars is one of his interests, and well, so we uploaded this video called My RC1. You know, somebody's gonna be pissed off at him. He says a lot of truth, and so I'm just gonna act a little crazy, just, you know, I'm not. But I'm not really. But you know, as we say on the Georgia Gone Sense, RC Christian. I was expecting some kind of, oh, you know, Justin's got an RC video, but turns out there's a 6-second video. Now the number 6 does have meaning, and check it out. Here's where things get really weird. Now some of his playlists show up, but it only shows posted videos. Nothing shows up in posted videos. uploads. 1 upload. Playlist. Watch, you're gonna be dead, I bet. Because, let's just say, truth about the United Nations. Deleted video, deleted video, deleted video. Well, and tomorrow's gonna be voting day, isn't it? Where they're saying that there might be threats of this or that. Or the other thing from even your friends in the FBI. So, what is this? I mean, if they could kill Justin Woolee, then the Rosicrucians, then they could kill me. I'll upload this for sure. This isn't very good, and you know I'm just being, I'll act a little silly because maybe it's a kind of a cliche enough to get people's attention. This is not good. Let's hope he's just fine.
Upload this. Delete all these. And these videos are deleted. They're not just private. Like, they're gone. Look at this. Look, and then look what he's saying. I mean, he's telling us. The CFR is trying to kill me. He's not even asking for help. He's just like, look, he gave his address. That was literally his fucking address. This is like, breaks my heart looking at this shit. If I die, remember the names of the others.
Commencing counter-tyranny operations with Justin Paul Hess. So a lot of you guys are wondering what exactly is going on with my channel. Well, as you might recall, the Council on Foreign Relations, Center for Strategic and International Studies, and Royal United Services Institute was most dissatisfied with me exposing all their criminal nefarious operations and have in more ways than one threatened to kill me. So I thought I would try and de-escalate tensions and maybe even try and help them with their foreign policy issues and maybe even convince them to be good people, you know? How about that? Well, unfortunately, they like to speak in cryptic messages and play games and lie to me even when I'm up front with them and respectable towards them. They just can't seem to be respectable people. So here we are again, and they may just try and kill me. So it was nice knowing you guys in the event that they get me, but I'll make sure to, you know, make some noise before they murder me NDAA style. So you guys have a good one. Take care.
But I was almost thinking too, it was almost like an FU to anybody digging into anything real. About how easily you can be silenced no matter how quickly people forget you too. I think still to this day people are like, oh yeah, what happened to that dude? People don't even know the story. A lot of people.
SWAT standoff in Cobb County is now over, but we're learning more about a murder suspect police took into custody. Detectives believe the man killed 2 people, including his own mother. Channel 2's Ashley Swan is live on Bridle Path near Johnson Ferry Road in Marietta. And Ashley, the search had neighbors there fearing for their safety.
It sure did. Police say Justin Hess lived in this townhouse here with his mother. They say it was here that he shot her to death last night before killing in Sandy Springs. Neighbors in the Mulberry Farms community reported hearing gunshots just after 8 o'clock. Police responded to find a 61-year-old woman dead and Hess, her 31-year-old son, and the woman's car missing. About 2 hours later, Sandy Springs police tell us they found the body of a man at a storage facility on Roswell Road along with Hess's mother's car. Cobb and Sandy Springs police searched throughout the night for Justin Hess. Then late this morning, a neighbor saw him pull up to his mother's home in a red Audi S5. Police say belonged to the Sandy Springs victim. A standoff ended just before 1 o'clock when a SWAT team took Hess into custody in his backyard.
He jumped out his back door, threw his hands way up in the air and yelled, "I give up, I give up, I give up." We were all relieved because, you know, one thing, if this lady hadn't called and let us know he was here, this possibility could have killed other people later. So we're glad he's gone and he probably won't never come back.
Police have not yet released the names of either victim. Neighbors here tell us Justin Hess was well known in this community for his behavior, and they were concerned he was dangerous. Back out here live, you can see where the SWAT team broke into this home to get inside. We are putting more together for you from neighbors for the Channel 2 Action News Night Beat at 11. Live in East Cobb, Ashley Swan, Channel 2 Action News.
Basic constitutional principles. There's a vast disconnect, not only between the federal government and people like Mr. Bundy. Remember, the government is the servant, not the master. That's in the Constitution on the Declaration of Independence. That's not a political statement. That's a value judgment in the American system. But the federal government believes, look, it is boasting about the fact that it has destroyed his property. The government is subject to the laws like everyone else. They destroy his property, they have to pay for it.
We're going to die and starve to death. Our permits are going to be cut. Our ranches are going to be ruined over and over and over like it's been happening for the last 50 years.
That's a good family. America, these are good people that are being hurt and destroyed. That rancher in New Mexico they took out. The ranchers in all other parts of the country that they have taken out, that they're putting pressure on. I know they're putting pressure on one of my neighbors right now over here on the Kaibab. And, you know, these are families. These are our livelihoods. This is our grazing rights. This is our heritage.
The boy was trying to teach the world. That's how come he got killed, because they don't want him to teach that kind of stuff.
It's about asking the federal government to return to the confines of the law and to allow the states and the counties to be free.
Show me where in our Constitution I'm wrong. Show me where LeBoy Finnegan was wrong. He gave his life.
On this channel, he always called himself Justin Woolee. His real name was Justin Hess. I'm subscribed to his channel, and several months ago I began to notice that he was posting less and less and actually disappeared for several weeks. He quit posting, and then he posted a very bizarre video one day. I noticed it struck me as a little off. It seemed more like a goodbye video. Now, this guy had, I know he had hundreds and hundreds of videos. He's been making vids for several years, and there's only 7 videos left on his channel. His last video he posted was 5 days ago. It's called Rebirth Redefined. Here's the last video he posted. He posted it on December the 14th. Always trust your eyes, ears, and heart, even when perception is beyond belief. The description he wrote is, the looking glass, pen, and paintbrush adopt the sword and the shield. May the gravity of love enlighten the earth. This was the last video he posted. Justin was always posting about guns. He had a lot of guns and stuff. Here's his Facebook page here. The last thing he posted on Facebook was December the 14th. Now, here we've got this. This was last updated today. Man charged in mother's murder appears in court. Cobb County, Georgia. A Cobb County man was ordered to be held without bond Monday in the shooting death of his mother, 61-year-old Carol Hess. Justin Hess, 31, made his first court appearance Monday on charges of felony murder and aggravated assault. His next court date is scheduled for January the 10th, 2017. Cobb County Police responded to a call on Saturday evening at Mulberry Farms that shots were fired at 403 Brittle Path, northeast in Marietta. Police arrived on the scene and found 61-year-old female deceased. Her 31-year-old son, Justin Hess, lives with her. but was not home when police arrived, according to authorities. Cobb County Police issued a lookout for him Saturday evening, and Sunday morning officers received a call that Hess was back at the residence. SWAT arrived and later arrested Hess after a police standoff. According to Cobb County PIO Sergeant Dana Pierce, authorities arrested Hess without incident. Pierce added that Hess is also suspected in a homicide in Sandy Springs. Sandy Springs police responded to a report of an unconscious male at the Extra Space Storage off Roswell Road on Saturday night. Emergency media services responded and determined that the male was deceased. Officers discovered the victim's car was missing and found an additional vehicle left behind. Police have learned that the missing vehicle was located at the initial homicide location in Cobb County. Folks, this is really bizarre. I've got here a Justin Hess's video arraignment before the judge. This was posted just 9 hours ago. And from the other article, there was an interview with an eyewitness, the next door neighbor, that knows Justin as well. And as I said, I've watched pretty much every one of Justin's videos. He doesn't have any kind of accent, no foreign accent. And this is really weird. The neighbor stated that when Justin was speaking that day, that he had a heavy foreign accent, which struck him as odd. Now, you can watch this video at around the 3:30 to 3:35 mark. Justin speaks a couple of sentences, and you can clearly hear he's got some kind of foreign accent going on. Now, this is really weird. In a lot of his videos, Justin was always called the FBI to report government crimes and Sandy Hook cover-up and things like that. Folks, did some sort of organization get to Justin and take him out like this? Why is he speaking in a foreign accent? Who deleted all of his videos? Did he delete them? Very, very strange indeed, folks. I'll leave links to all this. Let me know what you think in the comments. If any of you guys out there have watched Justin or familiar with his channel, let's see what's going on here, folks. Very interesting. Thanks, folks. I'll leave links. Let me know what you think.
Council Foreign Relations, etc., etc., etc. The secret societies and all that, and how they correlate, meaning bloodlines, and how they operate, all that stuff. He had a lot of great knowledge on that. So anyway, I just find it strange that I talk to him so much, and I've been around a lot of people with mental issues, warped psyches, and he never gave me the impression that he was psychotic, meaning out of touch with reality, or a psychopath, and then to actually kill multiple people would be a sociopath. So he never struck me as that, and I've been around a lot of, again, strange people without going into it. So it was strange. All the conversations we had were fine. His videos were good. Some of the rap ones were funny. Other videos, he just talked about other things. It was cool. And when I talked to him, he was, it was always a pleasure. I don't see how he could have done this. But anyway, I'll get into that. But anyway, so that was just my personal experience with him being on the show and watching his videos for a while and commenting, and he was very friendly to people and talked. And it's also strange how just before he got arrested for supposedly murder of 2 people, he had made several videos saying that, FBI, CIA, or whatever Secret Service were going to come after him and get him, and he was like, if anything happens to me, blah blah blah. And then all this happens. So this was his channel. He only has a few 5 or 6 videos left on it. They were all from 6 months ago, which is December, which is when the psyop took place. The last one about rebirth, redefined. It's about kind of cyclical in nature. It's funny how all the videos exposing the NWO were taken down, and even if someone was crazy and we're going to murder a bunch of people, if you really believed all this shit, why would you take all your videos down that support and buttress your supposed craziness, right? If you're nuts and you have all this information, you put it out, you're not obviously trying to hide it, so why would you take it all off the net? Makes no sense. So it shows that obviously his channel was hacked, and they just left a few videos on it as well that they felt that was no big deal. But anyway, that's this was his last video. This is his channel. These are the last 2, 4, 6, 7 videos. He had 7 videos, and this is a person who probably had, you know, probably 1,000 or more videos on their channel. Anyway, this is him when he was a kid. I just think this is good foreshadowing. He says, always trust your eyes, ears, and heart, even when perception is beyond belief. That's a good point. I would say more trust your heart, your spiritual, your intuitiveness, whatever you want to call it, your spirituality. So there's some commonalities about all this. As you see, you know, Oswald was a patsy. You had Adam Lanza, who I believe was a patsy.
At this point, you're probably saying, I've seen the movie, blah, blah, blah. Get to the point. What does this have to do with the next news story? Well, I'm here to tell you that sometimes you cannot believe everything you hear in the news. As I said, this story I'm about ready to tell you just popped up today, and I am troubled by it. There's a man who does YouTube videos. He calls himself Justin Woolee. You may have heard of him. You may have watched some of his videos. He's a very passionate young man, 31 years old. Now, his real name is Justin Hess. As I said, a.k.a. Justin Woolee. He does YouTube videos. He considers himself a patriot. He loves his guns, and he speaks his minds. Now, he lives close to Marietta, Georgia. Apparently, he's been arrested. The authorities have arrested him for not only killing his 61-year-old mother, Carol Hess, but he also went to a storage facility, a nearby storage facility, and killed a man, stabbed him, a 53-year-old man by the name of William Haynes. This story is just strange, beyond belief. Are we to believe this? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. Sometimes we cannot believe everything we hear in the news. That's why I brought up the movie, Enemy of the State. Is it that far-fetched to think that the government will go after the patriots who make YouTube videos? Is it really that far-fetched? Is it possible? I don't know. I hope the government is not that evil. But that's the first thing that hit me. When they arrested this 31-year-old man, I've watched some of his videos. Some of them were very entertaining, but the first thing that came to my mind was enemy of the state. Is it possible that something like this could actually happen in real life? Let's go over some of the details here.
Cobb County and Fulton County made his first court appearance this morning. Police believe 31-year-old Justin Paul Hess killed his mother and a stranger. Here before a Cobb County judge this morning, facing a charge of felony murder and aggravated assault.
Do you understand what you've been charged with?
I understand the nature of what you speak.
Did you find that odd, what Justin Hess said? When the judge asked him, do you understand what you've been charged with? So Justin Hess says, I understand the nature of what you speak.
I understand the nature of what you speak.
So let's make this simple. It really does come down to one of two things. Either Justin Hess went crazy, insane, nuts, and killed his mother, and killed a stranger, or we may be talking enemy of the state conspiracy. I'm not going to rule it out. How could I rule it out? Hardly anything I hear on the news is true anymore. But this is what's going to be the key to unlocking this crazy story. Now, we are led to believe that Justin Woolee, a.k.a. Justin Hess, after killing his mother, drives to a storage unit where out of the blue, he kills a perfect stranger, 53-year-old William Haynes. Now this is the key to unlocking the secret of this mystery. Once we find out if William Haynes was involved with any government contracts, did he have a government job, who did he work with, and if the cover story is he was retired, did he work for the military-industrial complex at any time in his life, there'll have to be a private investigator who digs into the history of William Haynes. If William Haynes has a history of working with the government, military-industrial complex contracts, well, now we got a conspiracy on our hands that will not be easy to unlock. You think I'm going off on the deep end here? I beg to differ. Let's listen to more of the cover story. This is where we may pick up some more clues.
Saturday night, Hess left the home with a handgun on his hip while talking in a fake accent and mumbling. Neighbors then called his mother's cell phone. They say Justin answered and said his mom had an accident and possibly fell. He drove off in a Mazda car with no headlights on. Sandy Springs police investigators say Hess then headed to this extra space storage facility off Roswell Road.
So we are led to believe that Justin Hess killed a stranger here at this storage unit. His name was William Haynes. And we are also led to believe that he had a handgun on his hip and he was using a fake accent, mumbling. And again, out of the blue, he goes to this storage facility and kills a perfect stranger. Weird? Yes.
Do you understand what you've been charged with?
I understand the nature of what you speak.
I must say, this has been one strange day in the news, with the Russian ambassador killed in Turkey, the truck attack in Berlin, Germany, and now Justin Woolee arrested for killing his mother and a perfect stranger. We're just asking questions here. We just want to get to the truth. We may never know the truth. This story also brings me to the old saying about, does art imitate life, or does life imitate art? And it brings me back to the movie, Enemy of the State, because I've got this gut feeling, I don't know why, but whenever I hear this story about Justin Hess, a.k.a. Justin Woolee, the first thing that hits me in my head is Enemy of the State. Now, is that just a gut feeling? I don't know. This is all very, very strange to me, but I do believe that I must report on it. We must tell the story and hope for the best.
I came up here because there, in my opinion, Mr. Finicum was murdered at the hands of the Oregon State Police and others, federal agents as well. This man was trying to surrender. It's quite obvious on the video that he was trying to surrender, but yet they chose violence and murder rather than to apprehend him. I've driven that route many times, and they had plenty of opportunity to apprehend him, if you will, for lack of a better term, or to question him anywhere along that route. But instead, they chose to employ an ambush. Now, I have 24 years in the military, special ops community. I'm a former Army Ranger. I know what an ambush is. And when I saw that video, that was clear-cut ambush. I've employed ambushes like that in foreign countries. I know what that's like. That man died at the hands of the Oregon State Police and federal agents, and he did not need to. That's why I'm here today, and that's why I came up here to try and prevent the further loss of life and harm to any other residents, whether they be in Oregon or Nevada or anywhere in this country. I will travel anywhere for that purpose. I think that should appall each and every one that kind of treatment can be done to an American citizen. As I stated earlier, I fought in combat. That is not what I fought in combat for, so that our own government can murder our own citizens. That deeply saddens me and troubles me. And I will do everything in my power to see that that does not happen to anyone else. Thank you.
Hey, with Justin Woolee coming in. So I'm at the White House's channel here, and they have a video that's about to go live called Using Behavioral Science Insights to Better Serve the American People. You mean to better perpetrate psychological operations and false flags on the American people to convince them to be disarmed slaves, which so far you're failing at miserably, hence why the scumbags at the Council on Foreign Relations see it as a science that has a lot of room for improvement. Well, how about this for a behavioral insight, you Council on Foreign Relations scumbags? The truth speaks louder than your bullshit psychological operation false flag garbage, and it doesn't matter how much of a science you try and make it out to be in attempts to perfect it, you will lose, because the truth is the ultimate power. Now go kick rocks, you scumbags.
We see a very effective, slick use of social media, of the internet, by organizations.
What the heck are we having federal fish and game officers running around here for? Fish and game, hunting is regulated by the state. That's the proper way it should be done. Now we got federal fish and game officers running around here. You know what that state representative told me that confrontation was?
Yeah.
Those fish and game officers were shutting down the roads, locking them off, putting locks and padlocks on them. And then those sheriffs are going up and cutting them off. And they had nose-to-nose confrontations.
We got a bird circling around or something.
You need to wake up. You see what's coming. But I'm not happy with this. But this is beautiful land. It's a place for freedom. Freedom's worth fighting for.
To take a stand, to stand between bad government, bad choices, bad decisions, and the way people are treating the people that I am sworn to protect and defend them, whether they're from my county or whether you come to our county to visit or recreate, or if you have a business or if you're just traveling through. I have a duty and an obligation to keep you from bad government.
Granite City Bank. So like many of our issues around here, bankers, criminal bankers. You got government cameras watching the Georgia Guidestones. So that's your tax money going there. Tell you what, guys, these Georgia Guidestones gotta go.
Hey, but Justin Woolee coming in. So we all know that the Council on Foreign Relations whore Hillary Clinton wants my channel removed, along with the Council on Foreign Relations heads of DOD and DHS. And it's absolutely hilarious. I'll have it linked in the event that it's new to you. Now then, time to troll the Council on Foreign Relations' own page. I love doing that. Let's see here. What do we have? What do we got? Scrolling. Yes. The Global Governance Monitor is looking so bleak that the Council on Foreign Relations' own operatives are not even sharing it on Facebook or Twitter. Goose eggs across the board, which means I have more social networking capacity in just my pinky than the entire Council on Foreign Relations. Now then, let's take a look at descriptions of their recent books. I mean, fireplace tender. Ooh, burn, pun intended. Foreign policy begins at home. Well, that sounds kind of oxymoronic. What kind of retard would write that? Ooh, it's the president of the Council on Foreign Relations himself, Richard N. Haas, as indicated by their officers and directors page here on the Council on Foreign Relations' own website. Richard N. Haas, President of the Council on Foreign Relations. Well, that would explain the high levels of retardation and stupidity. The biggest threat to U.S. security and prosperity comes not from abroad. Oh, really? What about the communist Chinese? Or the Russians, which still have access to all your state secrets via Edward Snowden? Or what about the North Koreans? Or how about that enriched uranium that the Iranians got a hold of? No, not concerned about any of that in the least? What are you concerned about? But from within is the threat, you say? Really? It wouldn't be people with the standard PCs, basic internet connections, and access to social media, as indicated by your little whore here, Hillary Clinton and the rest of your scumbags at DoD and DHS, would it? You couldn't possibly even attempt to so much as fathom stating that. Do you realize the implications, the embarrassment of being thwarted by people like me? The sheer embarrassment of me cocksmacking the Council on Foreign Relations. No, you would never bring yourself to directly admit it. However, even when you beat around the bush with your little operatives here, it's quite clear what it is you fear.
Today, however, we are pleased and honored to host the former Secretary of State and former Senator from the great state of New York, Hillary Clinton.
Thank you very much, Richard, and I am delighted to be here in these new headquarters. I have been often to, I guess, the mothership in New York City, but it's good to have an outpost of the council right here down the street from the State Department. We get a lot of advice from the council, so this will mean I won't have this far to go to be told what we should be doing, and how we should think about the future.
Hillary Clinton has described already the meeting in the White House over 2 years ago. Everyone in the national security team recommended arming ISIS, and the president.
So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province. More Sunni volunteers are coming forward. Some are already being trained, and they can be a new force.
We had this brilliant idea that we were going to come to Pakistan and create a force of mujahideen, equip them with Stinger missiles and everything else.
Alarming new images of American-made weapons falling into the hands of ISIS.
American armored vehicles and Humvees, and left behind a trail of death.
Put policy prescriptions before the president. After all, that's our job.
We're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province. More Sunni volunteers are coming forward.
I don't know why that's funny. I mean, did you have any in-person briefings? I don't find it funny at all.
I'm sorry, a little note of levity at 7:15.
Well, I mean, the reason I say it's not funny is because it went well into the night when our folks on the ground were still in danger. So I don't think it's funny to ask you if you were alone the whole night.
Congresswoman, you asked if I had
This brilliant idea that we were going to come to Pakistan and create a force of mujahideen, equip them with Stinger missiles and everything else.
Rifles, ammunition, armored personnel carriers, Humvees. But this is a scene that's been replayed a variety of times.
I want to thank the United Nations for hosting today's events.
I have the honor to welcome to the United Nations His Excellency Barack Obama.
Mr. Secretary General, fellow delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Each year we come together to reaffirm the founding vision of this institution. And wait for Congress to do its job. So where they won't act, I will. And I've told my administration, we're going to look every single day to figure out what we can do without Congress. What can we do without? So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces.
Thank you for calling the White House conference line. We appreciate your call. Please stay on the line, and a volunteer operator will be with you shortly. If you prefer to call back at a different time, our direct telephone number is 202-456-1111. For additional information about the White House, please visit
Yes, absolutely. This is orders from the Council on Foreign Relations. We need to stop these false flag operations immediately because these people online are absolutely tearing our criminal operations apart. And every time we start our rhetoric on our propaganda mainstream teleprompter reading media about taking their guns, they start waving their guns around even more. A rifle behind every blade of grass, and we do not need to draw their fire because these patriotic people are absolutely destroying our criminal operations. The Council on Foreign Relations has spoken.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am?
Sorry, I think you cut out for a second.
Oh, did I? Yes, the Council on Foreign Relations is demanding a cease to the false flag operations because these people online are absolutely destroying our criminal operations. And the propaganda, teleprompter reading machine, media, needs to stop with the gun-grabbing rhetoric, or else these patriotic people just get so mad and they could destroy us all. So I highly recommend that we stop with our propaganda.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for your comment.
No problem at all. You have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Oh, yeah.
For those who are concerned about terrorism, some may be aware of the fact that
Hillary Clinton has described already the meeting in the White House over 2 years ago. Everyone in the national security team recommended arming ISIS. And the president.
So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces.
Hey, everybody, Justin Woolee coming in. So today is the day of Connecticut's Open Carry March in support of their gun rights over there, which have recently been circumvented by tyrannical legislation which was passed, even though the people passing it were not representing the citizens' wishes or rights in doing so. As you might have heard, I could not quite make it out to Connecticut, so I will be supporting them here from my home station in Georgia. Hey, everybody, so I'm making my way up the driveway now. And got lots of neighbors around my neighborhood. So I already talked to my next door neighbor. She spotted me. She was like, "Oh man, what are you doing?" And I explained the whole thing, advocating the Second Amendment. That's what it's all about. Tell you guys what, I could not have picked a nicer day for this. I don't even see the chemtrails out today. Oh yeah. You know it. Yeah, I don't usually carry the rifle like this, just for the record, but to support Connecticut and really show them how it's done, kind of give James Yeager a middle finger. Oh, you know it. All right. So we're about 20 minutes in. I got a squad car a couple paces up the road, and we'll have a talk and make sure everything's all right. Cool. Sounds good with me. Sorry, sir? Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah. Are you out here exercising your constitutional rights, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I'm here about.
Cool.
Now, have you been out here doing this before?
This is my first time, sir.
Okay. Is there anybody else out here with you today?
No, sir. Just me, sir.
Okay. Anybody else in the area today?
No, sir.
Okay. That's what I'm here. Just you're not planning on going to any grocery stores or anything of that way to do anything?
No, sir. I will not be entering any private or federal businesses.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
By chance, do you mind showing me some ID?
I can do that, sir.
If you don't mind.
Yeah. Just to let you know, it's I'm not obligated to.
No, sir. I understand that. That's the reason I asked you if you don't mind.
Yes,
that way,
sir.
If I get more calls.
Hey, how's it going? That's a nice rifle you have. M&P. They make good stuff.
Thanks, sir.
That an aim point?
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
All right. Just trying to engage some fun conversation. Just friendly business out here, all exercising their Second Amendment rights today.
Mr. Hess.
Yes, sir.
Is this your current address?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Infringe on any of your
thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Constitutional rights. It's just the fact that we get calls.
Yes, sir.
And we have to respond.
I understand,
We
sir.
have to make sure that with society the way it is, we got to make sure that you are a person just exercising your rights and not some person
off the hinges.
To do something.
Yes, sir.
not good for society.
Yes, sir. Fully understandable.
All right. Just, it's going to raise suspicion no matter what you do.
But at least we know who you are.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Give me a call.
I appreciate you dressing nice like this.
Yeah. I've been waving, smiling to everybody. I was about, let's see, it took, I guess, about 15 minutes in before you guys caught me. So.
Well, we've been getting calls, and we've been getting calls from different locations.
Yeah.
Because people don't have enough sense to say, okay, I'm in front of this store. This is where I see them. They drive down the road. By the time they call, they go, oh yeah, I'm at Johnson's Ferry in Roswell. You're 4 miles up the road.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I was actually, there's more than one of you out here.
Oh, I hear that.
Because we got a bunch of different calls.
Oh, yeah.
Now, by chance,
you're at 6 different places at once.
There was a gentleman that was on Delk Road at 75 like 2 weeks ago. Okay. Are you familiar with him?
No, sir. No relation.
There's another gentleman.
He was behaving himself, though?
He was behaving himself.
Very nice.
I appreciate it. It's just that was down the area. I think we got, because that's in the city.
3,000? Yeah. Yeah, I paid probably $200 more than I should have for the lower just because I got it, post Sandy Hook. Prices were just bad. Everything else I got at a pretty fair price. Everything as it stands now is priced similarly as it was when I bought it then.
You got top-notch stuff on it.
Yeah, I decked it out. I figured I'd swing for the fences. This is my first build. Looked up on YouTube how to do it. I was all excited, and it took me a good 6-7 months to put it together. It was I'm not a rich person, but over time I can put some money into it. I go to a place called Sandy Springs Gun Club and Range.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they got good people up there.
Was it Roswell Road in Sandy Springs, or is it? I can't remember. I've only been there like once.
Yeah. It's off Roswell Road in Sandy Springs up there. They got a nice range. It's owned by 2 females. They run it all right. They got some nice layout up there.
Isn't there outdoor rifle range? I think it's more
things to do. So
people are on edge.
Yeah, and that's part of it. Just trying to advertise, show people that not everyone exercising their rights or with a firearm is a Looney Tune. And that's kind of part of it, the public awareness. A lot of people don't even know they have the right to keep and bear arms to defend themselves, and it's a real shame because we're the only nation that has such a phenomenal and beautiful right, and so many people just don't even know. They associate firearms with evil crimes and stuff, and they don't know that people defend themselves lawfully every day.
Yep.
All right.
But anyway.
Hey, well, you guys have a good one. Take care. I won't type any more of your time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Take care. Hey, buddy. So that went very, very well. I would rate those peace officers from a scale of 1 to 10. I'd give them a 9.8, maybe even a 9.9. Doesn't seem right to give them a perfect score, but yeah, that went very well. And yeah, I guess let this be a tutorial on how to open carry and speak to police. You don't need to be super defensive as long as they're being nice and respecting your rights. Most of the information they requested is just going to help them identify whether or not they're dealing with multiple people, if it's me, if it's someone else. Say someone else commits a crime with a rifle in the immediate area, and they know I'm out here. They can better distinguish if it was me or someone else that was involved. So, if anything, all that information really just helps keep me from getting repeatedly stopped by law enforcement, makes their day a lot easier. It's a Saturday. I'm sure they got better things to do than to talk to me all day. So, yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. I hope this was helpful. Justin Woolee, signing out.
And if you look at what the Department of Homeland Security has been purchasing over the last year, it comes out to like 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition, more than 7,000 fully automatic assault weapons, 2,700 MRAP type vehicles, and now drones. Those are instruments of war. Department of Homeland Security's, who are they going to fight a war against?
How do you answer that?
I don't know. That's a good question. But, a bunch of people up here ought to be asking more questions about this.
Rick, what does population stabilization mean, and how do you seek to enforce that?
Well,
We're not the epigones of Malthus, as some would have you believe, but the world population is a concern. The Associated Press just has an article today saying that the world population is going to reach 7 billion people by the year 2012. We're 6.7 billion people today.
Hey, good to see you. Just a simple question. What did you mean by depopulation should have been the priority of U.S. foreign policy against the third world? Shame me. I'm not wanted for mass murder in different countries, unlike you, sir. How does it feel? All the millions, all the dictatorships, all the overthrows.
We'll be held accountable for them one way or another.
Our idea is
a plan, Rick. You're spouting off things from an office in California. This is my question. You're saying something very controversial here, and I hope people understand what you're saying. You think there should be fewer people in the United States? I'm trying to figure out which people are the undesirables. You pointed out you think immigrants are undesirable.
Corporations are allowed to commit bioterrorism against you in a whole plethora of ways on a regular basis, by the way.
Aerosol geoengineering looks like it is so cheap that the cost is basically not going to be an issue. That means that implementation decisions will be risk-to-risk decisions. But I think the more we do research, the less easy this will look, the more complicated the environmental effects will look. And that's a good thing, because right now it looks too easy. So I think that if we do more research, we're likely to find out that it's harder and more complicated than we thought, and the side effects are harder to manage.
So your answer to that equation is to promote it even further? Come on, doctor, tell me what you really think.
And by the way, it's not really a moral hazard, it's more like free riding on our grandkids. And by the way, it's not really a moral hazard, it's more like free riding on our grandkids.
Free riding on our grandkids. Oh, isn't that cute? Yes. Go on, spray all the little rats in this big experiment of yours. It's not like they'll see it coming. They'll be too busy playing their Xbox and their PlayStations. You've got it all figured out, don't you?
Have named submicron-sized particulates as being particularly harmful for human respiration. Through all the discussions today, I have not heard any mention of this fallout, and has this been studied, and also the effects of a highly reactive metal like aluminum on toxifying soils and waters?
The collaborators of mine working on the aerosol scheme are actually folks from Carnegie Mellon who've focused on human health impacts. And while we haven't published it, that was the very first thing we did.
Of course you didn't publish the study showing how you're committing genocide. After all, if there was anything good in that study at all, you'd have it with you to generate some good PR. But no, here you are talking about free riding on our grandkids.
Upwards of 80% of key US-grown foods like corn are already genetically modified. When GMOs get from the lab to the table, doctors and scientists consistently warn of extremely serious effects.
Every single independent study conducted on the impact of genetically modified food shows that it damages organs, it causes infertility, it causes immune system failure, it causes holes in the GI tract, it causes multiple organ system failure.
25, 30, 35 years ago, no one was allergic to anything. And now everything. I have people that are allergic to parsley.
When you link it to the GMO issue, it resonates like you would not believe.
The villain in this is Obama to me, because he first of all, he promised blatantly that he would look into this and do something, and he didn't.
We'll let folks know whether their food has been genetically modified, because Americans should know what they're buying.
He also appointed, what is the guy's name? Michael Taylor. Used to be a VP at Monsanto, the seat of evil. To be the food czar, the FDA Deputy Commissioner of Foods. And of course, Monsanto's latest Frankenfood got speedy approval because this guy is in charge of it. Because it's like putting Jerry Sandusky in charge of Chuck E. Cheese. Of course he's going to approve.
Monsanto's the company that told us that PCBs were safe. They told us that Agent Orange was safe. They told us that DDT was safe. And now they're in charge of telling us if their own genetically modified foods are safe. Because the FDA doesn't require a single safety study, they leave it to Monsanto.
A new bombshell email is even more alarming when investigative journalist Anthony Gucciardi questioned a senior GMO executive on shocking evidence that genetically modified foods cause infertility. Here's how he responded.
If this causes infertility, awesome.
The world is overpopulated. This is why GMO is actually saving the planet. I'm doing humanity a fucking favor. Sincerely, Ed.
Questions are now being asked on Monsanto buying a firm that's injected a permanent infertility gene into corn. The corporation's name is Epicite.
Epicite patented a product, patented a gene, which causes both men and women who eat it, in the form of any product, to produce antibodies, rendering them irreversibly sterile. Now, DuPont and Monsanto formed a joint venture, purchased the Epicite firm, and, quote, commercialized the Epicite gene. Do you want to know if the food that you're eating contains the Epicite gene? The FDA, the Fraud and Death Administration, has made sure that under current laws, it is illegal for you to have that information.
On leaving Microsoft, Bill Gates bought $23 million of Monsanto shares. Globally, he now promotes GMOs and a vaccines collection he calls the solution for the world. Gates has been recorded explaining this solution is actually to cut the world's population.
Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. The density in the poor areas is greater than they can grow the food. The benefits there in terms of reducing the population growth.
The only vaccines that reduce the population, notes the site Prison Planet, are ones that sterilize people. The BBC says his foundation's funding big sterilization programs such as this one that blasts men's scrotums with ultrasound to damage the sperm. Here, Gates actually calls for the so-called death panels to decide whether folks should live or whether, as he puts it, they have no benefit whatsoever.
And a lack of willingness to say, you know, is spending $1 million on that last 3 months of life for that patient, would it be better to see which ones actually have no benefit whatsoever? But that's called the death panel, and you're not supposed to have that discussion.
Justin Woolee coming in. Well, I've done a ton of additional research into the New World Order template, its historical nature all the way up until today. So, of course, before Christ, after the death of Christ is a massive transition in human history. And we're going to go over a little bit of that first to kind of set the groundwork here. For instance, the period of antiquity is a very large period encompassing a lot of different transitions. First, the kings of Sparta. This is 6th century BC, so 6,000 years before Christ. That is the beginning of the period of antiquity. And then the Roman Empire is the first period after, or AD, after the death of Christ. So let's take a look here just before the Roman Empire. We have records of individuals right up to Jesus Christ coming onto the scene. So here it is, 86 BC. So you have all this period here for an established order with its own lineage to come into fruition. And then Jesus Christ comes onto the scene, becomes really popular, is preaching good morals to a lot of people, generating really good moral character. Basically becomes a representative of a large amount of people, creates this community of moral upstanding, and a lot of people really respect him. The problem is the order of the time with a power monopoly and most likely trying to further consolidate power and So when Jesus comes onto the scene and threatens their power monopoly, sure enough, at the Last Supper, Jesus is still preaching really good values to a lot of people. It's this big banquet type thing. You got people probably from all over at that point. You know, Jesus is pretty much a rock star. And it puts a bad taste in the powers that be's mouth, if you would, and they crucify him. Now, the problem they have with that is that they turned him into a massive martyr and essentially immortalized Jesus. And a whole massive enduring religion was born out of the death of Jesus Christ. That would, of course, be 8,000 Christianity. That was completed in 335 AD. And then you get into the Crusades, followers of the Church of the Holy Scripture. So here's the coat of arms for the Church of the Holy Scripture. Here's where things get interesting, all right? So here you have a white shield with the red cross and then a couple more red crosses, and then the knight in golden shining armor's top piece there. And then you have the band of thorns that Jesus wore. Now this is the precursor to crowns. People wearing crowns when they claim that they are, you know, the monarchy, the dictator, you know, in the name of the Jesuits and the rest of it. So that is actually where crowns come from. Crowns like this one. So here are some Jesuit monarchs right there for you. Now, here's where things get interesting. So this is the crest or the coat of arms of the Order of the Holy Scripture. Of course, we all know the Crusader period was a whole bunch of imperial conquest in the name of Jesus Christ and the Church of the Holy Scripture and the rest of it. So there you go. But let's cross-compare this coat of arms with the coat of arms of the Protectorate in 1653 to 1659. All right, you'll see some very similar symbology proving that this is essentially a carryover in time after the dust cleared from the Crusader period. So you have the Church of the Holy Scriptures seal, and then this seal of the Protectorate. Very much similar. You have the golden face mask of the knight. You have what is now a clear depiction of a crown with the cross. Headband of thorns that Jesus wore has now become a symbol of the monarch. So you see a lot of the same symbology. There you have the red cross on a white background. So clearly deriving its lineage from Church of the Holy Scriptures seal all the way to the Protectorate. And now we're going to get into this right here, the coat of arms of Great Britain. This is 17, moving forward in time, 1707 to 1714. And here you see the fleur-de-lis, which is a French influence there. You see, and go ahead and full screen that. You see, of course, the crown once again, the same crown. And then, of course, the golden face mask. And then those two angels bearing the flag have been converted into these bits of symbology here. From the reading I've done thus far, the unicorn symbolizes freedom and innocence, kind of a lot of what Jesus stood for. But when you look at this, it is collared by the crown, symbolizing control and the fact that this representation is submissive to the crown. It is being controlled by it. So you have the crown strangling as like a little choke collar, and this thing is chained to the or anchored to this platform here. And here is something big. This belt here, this type structure, symbolizes this, the Order of the Garter, which still goes on to this day. All right, that's key. This was established in 1348. All right, here's the Order of the Garter. And the Order of the Garter is the direct secret society and most loyal institution directly under the Jesuits, the Jesuit monarchy. All right. Now, here's where things get interesting. You might recall the Trilateral Commission, which each arrow symbolizes one of the major land masses to be consolidated for the New World Order. You have European Union, the North American Union, and the Asian Pacific Union. And then they take each arrow representing each of the unions and they slam them together, indicating the merger of the three for the New World Order. And each arrow is also making a 6, symbolizing the full Jesuit takeover of Christianity, and now it is a satanic occultic takeover and the merger of the three unions which had had their sovereignty destroyed. Now here's where we make the connection of the Rothschilds, who are instrumental in this, to the coat of arms for Great Britain, which is of course the Jesuit monarchy, and the Order of the Garter. I'm going to finish this out with a segment on furthering the information in regards to the Order of the Garter for you guys to clarify that even further. So let's go to, here is the coat of arms for the Rothschilds. All right. Now what you're seeing here is, this is symbology for the First World War. All right. You have the grabbing onto the centralized control of 5 arrows, which symbolizes the 5 continents. And then out of that control, you have a phoenix rising out of World War I. And now you have the control over here for World War II, the Second World War grasping and then out of the Second World War, you have the creation of these 3 unions. All right. So you see these 3 specific unions here. And that represents the Trilateral Commission's role for the 3 unions. Okay, so there's that. Now, oh, where is it? Well, here's the Rothschild's own website confirming the crown, the phoenix, the 5 arrows, this 2 symbology. They cut it off at the top, but you can see the beginning of the top end there. So this is www.rothschild.com. I'll have it linked. It goes through all of their stuff there. So out of the 3, when they kick off World War III, so you have the 3 unions after World War III, the phoenix rises finally, and here is the unification into the New World Order here after the phoenix rises out of World War III, which they're going to need to unify the 3 unions there. So that is what that is, and we're going to stop them before they get that far. So you have the Jesuits' transformation here over time, and the Order of the Garter is the highest secret society under the Jesuits.
The coming world king is the Prince of Darkness, or Antichrist. He will ascend to power on a platform of peace and will claim to be humanity's savior, but he will be a counterfeit savior. He will bring about peace by disarming the world of its weapons of war. In so doing, he will hold the power over one world government and one world army. Considering all of the possible candidates that the entire world might be willing to unite under as their world king, Prince William is the most eligible candidate. The British monarchy's centuries-long conspiracy to create a new world order through the world's most powerful organization, the Order of the Garter. The Order of the Garter is the 1% who rule the 1% who rule the 99% of the world population. Founded in 1348, the Order's membership is limited to Charles, the Prince of Wales, the Sovereign Queen, and no more than 24 knighted companion members at any one time. The Order of the Garter is the parent organization of worldwide Freemasonry. When a Mason receives his 33rd degree, he swears allegiance to the Order of the Garter. The Order of the Garter is the absolute core leadership of the Priori of Zion, the Knights Templar, Scottish Rite Freemasonry, the Rosicrucians, and the powerful Committee of 300. This medieval order is a precursor to the coming establishment of the New World Order Roundtable. On April 23, 2008, Prince William, whose second name is Arthur, became the 999th member of the Order of the Garter. 999 is the mirror image of 666. News sources reported William was the 1,000th member instead of the 999th member after the name of the founder was added on. The Knights of the Order of the Garter would serve as the Knights of King Arthur's Circle of the Round Table once Prince William Arthur is crowned Divine King and World Ruler. The motto of the Order of the Garter is an evil curse, Honi soit qui mal y pense, which means, evil unto him who thinks evil of it. The it refers to evil itself, so the true translation of the curse is, evil unto him who thinks evil of evil. The garter is an emblem of a witch's coven and of witchcraft, which was practiced by the founder of the order, King Edward III. Prince Charles' coat of arms incorporates the Order of the Garter motto and emblem as well as the red dragon. The red dragon is mentioned only once in the book of Revelation to denote Satan. The scriptures describe the spirit of the Antichrist as a red dragon, rising up from its otherworldly abyss, and foreknowing its target, possesses the prince, and gives him his power and his throne and great authority. A red dragon is found in the top right quadrant of the shield on William's coat of arms, but it's partially hidden by a white horn. In the book of Revelation, the beast is described as being like a leopard, with the feet of a bear and the mouth of a lion. On the left side of William's coat of arms, the beast that is holding up the shield fits the biblical description perfectly. The beast has the body of a leopard, the feet of a bear, and the mouth of a lion. At the top of William's coat of arms is another lion. This dominating lion symbolizes the one world ruler who is the king above all kings. Notice how this ruling lion is detached, like the capstone of the Egyptian pyramid on the U.S. dollar bill. It is waiting to be attached when the world king starts his rule. The unicorn on the right side of William's coat of arms symbolizes purity of heart and imagination. The unicorn is chained, which symbolizes the bondage of the heart and mind. Note how the chain leads from the unicorn's crown to the earth and binds it.
We had this brilliant idea that we were going to come to Pakistan and create a force of mujahideen, equip them with Stinger missiles and everything else.
I don't know why that's funny. I mean, did you have any in-person briefings? I don't find it funny at all.
I'm sorry, a little note of levity at 7:15.
Well, I mean, the reason I say it's not funny is because it went well into the night when our folks on the ground were still in danger. So I don't think it's funny to ask you if you were alone the whole night.
Congresswoman, you asked if I had
This brilliant idea that we were going to come to Pakistan and create a force of mujahideen, equip them with Stinger missiles and everything else.
Rifles, ammunition, armored personnel carriers, Humvees. But this is a scene that's been replayed a variety of times.
I want to thank the United Nations for hosting today's events.
I have the honor to welcome to the United Nations His Excellency Barack Obama.
Mr. Secretary General, fellow delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Each year, we come together to reaffirm the founding vision of this institution. Can't wait for Congress to do its job. So where they won't act, I will. And I've told my administration, we're going to look every single day to figure out what we can do without Congress. What can we do without?
So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces.
Anyway, to the issue of Justin Woolee, and I don't really want to make a lot out of the fact that he is accused of having killed his mother and some other guy. You know, people are all up in arms. It's some COINTEL propaganda campaign. It's this, it's that. Everybody's up in arms about it. I'm not trying to get into any of that. I'm speaking to the Legion, to my subscribers. And I would like you to engage your critical thinking capability. Look at him look at his body of work. Like right now, I'm looking at this video thumbnail from Why Did Justin Hess Kill His Mother from the channel For the People. And, you know, it's got Justin sitting there with 1, 2, 3, 4 rifles in the background, a katana, you know, and that stand that he had and all that. You know, this is going to seem exceedingly judgmental and dickish, and I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to make a point here. When I looked at his weapon selection, when I looked at his gear, and when I looked at what he was advocating people do in terms of tactics, it was very, very obvious this is not a trained guy. And so, you know, what he is being accused of, what Woolee is being accused of, isn't political violence, right? It's domestic violence and, you know, a follow-on attack against a stranger, ostensibly, right? You know, there was a lot of things that were kind of off about this guy, but there's a lot of things about everybody that's a little off, right? So, you know, there was no big warning sign to me that this dude was going to go off and do what he's being accused of having done. And I don't know if what he is being accused of having done is legitimate or not. I don't know. I'm not involved in the investigation. I'm not a witness, right? All I can say is that he's being accused of having killed his mother and a stranger, as I understand it, right? Shot her, stabbed him, as I understand it. So the thing that I want to say to you guys is this. For me, I've never made any kind of these videos, right? But I was making videos that came to the attention of someone. I'll never know who, ever. But came to the attention of someone, and it came down through my chain of command that I needed to be pulled out of Iraq because they were concerned about me being homicidal. Of course I was homicidal. Where was I? I mean, there was no other mindset to be in, but that was what they instructed. You know, and in a port security unit in the deployable specialized forces of the Coast Guard, the deployable operations group, right? There's the port security unit commander. There's the dog. Wherever their concern about me came from, it had enough juice to have one of my best friends, I mean, who is still tore up about this, come in and have me surrender all of my weapons. You know, we had in the clue the containerized living unit, you know, our long gun, sidearm, I had boarding hatchet, fighting knife, all kinds of stuff in there, right? All of that needed to be surrendered, and then they asked me to come talk to the medical officer who was with us at that particular time. And they wouldn't tell me if I was being charged or what my status was. So when the little boat came to get me off of the Platte and take me back down to Kuwait, for 5.5 hours, I made no statement whatsoever. And I knew if it was CGIS or NCIS that met me at the boat, I was getting hemmed up on charges. But I had done nothing. So I had no idea what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to be charged with something or if I was just going to be removed from theater. I had nothing to go on because I hadn't done anything. So there was no point of reference for me, right? But some video that I had done somewhere had gotten people going. And man, when that juice is leveled against you, shit starts to happen for sure, right? And the more serious, the more capable you are of actually carrying out some type of violence, the more swift and direct the intervention is, right? So with Justin Woolee, if they'd wanted to shut him down or take him off the internet, man, they could have made that happen from my personal experience. So that leads me to you know, look at his issue as legitimately mental health related, probably, right? He always seemed a little off, but then all of us seem a little off, right? So I can't say from my masterful viewing of this and that. last thought here, and it's not to in any way castigate Woolee or whatever he's going through or join sides on one side or the other, but to speak to you guys. Watch who you listen to on YouTube. And you are the line in the sand, right? There's no movement to join. There's no any of this. You yourself, right, have to be as educated and capable as you can be, to be as fit as you can be, and to be as proficient with your firearms, especially your rifle, as you can be, right? That is your sacred duty as an American citizen, right? I've talked on this channel about having a good moral compass so that you yourself can make a decision about when it is time to do X, Y, or Z thing. When is it legitimate, right? Because any future conflict in this country, whether it be from foreign enemies or domestic enemies, assume that your communications is compromised, that everybody in that communications chain is subverted. Make damn sure that whatever information you're getting, that you are vetting it, right? That you are engaging your critical thought, your critical thinking ability on everything you see out here, including me. But this is why I try and cite my sources, provide my documentation, and give you some insight as to where I'm coming from and why.
I don't know where the mic is. Hello. Hey, Justin.
Hey, how's it going?
It's me.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, how you doing?
I'm alive.
Excellent.
Yeah, what? 1 year ago, like, I was in jail, basically. In Texas, there was a active shooter drill that I came and recorded, and the cops jumped on top of me, and I ran out from underneath them, and I dodged a taser, and they pointed guns at me and stuff like that. And they took all the money I had out of my wallet, and they called it evidence, and they tried to get me turned. Are you okay, Justin?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, like, 'cause your channel's kind of weird now, like, all your uploads are gone.
Yeah.
What happened there?
I'm sorry?
Oh, what happened?
Oh, well, alcohol formulation was most dissatisfied with my body work.
Did they try to kill you?
I may have tried a few times.
Yeah. But I thought that you were taken out by Rosicrucians, and I made a video about it. Just, you know, making sure you're okay.
Yeah, I saw that. Your video.
You tired, Mr. Justin?
Yeah, there are circumstances in this world that can make a man rather tired.
Yeah. So you're alright and everything, right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You're not, like, being tortured by Rosicrucians right now, are you?
Well, there's a certain level of pressure, but I wouldn't call it torture.
Well, that's good. That they're not torturing you. And, you ever do any experiment with night vision?
I never really had enough money to get my hands on any night vision.
Yeah. That's a pain in the ass about it.
Oh, maybe an old methodology. There are some jobs where the He would take care of that tool. He would shine it. He would polish it. He would further refine it. He would treat the tool right because it's the right tool for the job. And we have a baseline understanding established.
Yes.
And you have my number. And I'm sure you know people that secure communications and know what to do with insecure communications, depending. And, well, make sure to make full use of the asset.
You know, investing in good, you know, because nighttime is an inevitability and everything like that. Being sure, you know, to be squared away at nighttime, and nobody's bulletproof, you know.
That's true. I always come up with such interesting ways to manipulate the system.
Yeah, because fuck the system. But you know what's crazy is like how many white people are like trying to be gangster rappers, and it's just so disgusting.
Yeah, well, you know, there's natural poets and then there's posers.
I mean,
well, don't mark the asset too much. You utilize it, you don't mark him. But you can mark him a little if you wish. Well, keep in touch.
I will do, Justin. Thanks for talking to me.
Yeah, no problem at all. And you said for the porn industry, what was that, Black Page?
Back page, B-A-C-K page.
Okay, yeah.
There's some regular girls there that are like, you know, regular as hell that are just kind of maybe one. Okay, but don't send me any of your porn, Justin, that you made. Because I don't want you to fuck me.
It's going to find its way where it may.
Oh, okay.
Just try and protect the asset. Don't do anything too reckless with his, well, name or his image or his information. That could be damaging to the asset.
Okay.
Alright?
Well, I'm just, you know, letting the people on YouTube know you're okay.
Well, there's only so much they need to know.
Okay. Should I not tell them anything?
Might give them it that way.
That I should just say you're okay?
Well, that they don't know. People have to make assumptions.
Because I made a video kind of panicking, thinking that you were killed by Rosicrucians or something, you know?
Well, it's probably better that way.
Okay, well, I'll delete any hint of you being alive and then just say that you were killed. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, Justin, I won't mess with you anymore, but...
My original intentions with this video was actually to stand behind Justin because it seemed like an obvious case of a Manchurian Candidate, MK Ultra, you know. There's still huge holes in the story. Why would he choose the victims that he chose? When I first heard this phone call from just what, 2 months ago, a month ago, whatever this was, I thought, wow, Justin is fucked up. It bothers me that he doesn't care to let the public know, you know, anything. That he's okay, that, you know, you got people out here, you know, don't let us conspire if you know that you just lost your shit and You know what you see what I'm getting at. Now, that said, I don't know how one would act if you were a Manchurian candidate, or if you were under a process. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just asking the viewers, don't be so quick to judge, because, you know, and had I found this audio clip of this phone call before I started making this entire video, I never would have started this video, put it that way. Because I don't want to stand behind or defend somebody who is guilty, and vice versa. And this is, I have more questions than ever.
I got a lot of questions. I don't understand any of this. I don't understand, and I hope we get some more details and information about what the hell's really going on here, because the story as we're getting it, again, I've got questions. It doesn't make sense to me what we're being told. If it's true that he did this to his mother, then why, my first question is, why drive to a storage unit where you don't have a unit, stab some random guy that you don't know to take his red flashy car so you could be good and noticed, and then drive right back to the scene of the crime and sit there and wait on the police? I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense to me, and I don't know how to process that. I need to understand why that happened. Does that make sense? I mean, have you guys thought about that? I mean, if you're just going to snap and you're just going to go do some heinous shit, okay, then why the storage unit? Why this random guy? Why not the neighbor? Why not just the first person you come in contact with? You know, there had to have been some reason for him to choose going to that storage unit, which, by the way, they do have security cameras. So I would be very happy to see the security cameras. I want to see Justin walk in and do this. He's also reported to be carrying a gun with him. So he stabs this guy? Man, that don't make sense to me. When you stab somebody, you want them dead for a personal reason. You know, you've got something against them, and it's personal. It's up close and it's personal. You know?
Yeah.
And I just don't understand.
They've always, from what I know, is when you stab somebody, that shit is personal. That shit is because it's intimate.
Exactly. It's, I want this motherfucker dead. I got some specific reason, not some just unknown person you meet on the street, which, by the way, he didn't need his car. He drove to that storage unit. He had a car. And by the way, he wasn't going anywhere because he drove to the next county, does this at an unknown storage unit for no reason, and then gets this guy's car and drives right back home. It's not like he was running. He went back home and sit there and wait for the police. You know, again, he might as well sit down on the curb and just started reading A Catcher in the Rye. That would make just as much sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, that's for sure.
So I don't know. Either the story we're getting is true and he just snapped for whatever reason and did something crazy, or the story we're getting doesn't make sense. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there because I know for a fact Justin was targeted by the same online psyop trolls that attack people. They've been on me for years. They've been on Justin for the past year. I don't know if it has anything to do with it, but it's got to be noted. It's got to be noted.
And here's another thing, you know, 2 + 2 still equals 4. Even if, like Patrice O'Neal had a bit in a video I put up recently. Even if a guy's putting marbles up his ass, it doesn't take away from the fact that 2 + 2 still equals 4. So, you know, they try to discredit information by association, through affiliation, and character assassination. Listen, I don't mean to be rhyming all this. It just happens to be what it is, kids, alright?